Hey guys, it's Lexi. If you're new, welcome to my YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe, like, comment, all the things. So today I'm gonna do a video about prereqs required for nursing school. So I know there are different prereqs required for different schools, but I'm just gonna go over the ones that my school required. I went to Salt Lake Community College and got my nursing AAS degree. I'll kind of go over what prereqs I had to take, like which ones are recommended. And again, I'm sure they differ from program to program, but for SLIC, these are the ones I took. And I was looking at the recommendations and well, all you have to do now, and things have changed since I graduated like 2 years ago, so that's fun. So some of the classes you have to take are Math 1010, Intermediate Algebra, or any QL with the exception of Math 1030. When I got accepted into the program, they either wanted you to take Intermediate Algebra or Statistics, and they recommended taking statistics if you wanted to go on and get your bachelor's degree. So I was like, well, I do want to go on and get my bachelor's degree. You're required to take Biology 1610, which is college biology, and Biology 1615, which is college biology 1 lab. Then you take Biology 2320, which is human anatomy, and Biology 2325, which is human anatomy lab. Another one you're required to take is Biology 2420, human physiology, and Biology 2425, which is the human physiology lab. Chemistry 1110, elementary chemistry, and Chem 1115, which is just the elementary chemistry lab. And then Pathophysiology is one of those classes at SLIC where you can take it during the nursing program or you can take it before you get into the program, and they recommend that you take it before you get into the program. I wish that I would have, but I ended up applying and getting in without it, so I ended up taking it while I was in the program, but it would have helped my workload a little bit to have taken it beforehand. So if you can, take Pathophysiology before you get accepted into the nursing program. And then at SLIC, they require you to take English 1010, Intro to Writing, or English 2010, Intermediate Writing. So they require you to take a basic writing class, and then they require like a health science class. So they require PSY 1100, Lifespan Human Growth and Development, or FHS 1500, Lifespan Human Development. So those are the classes you're required to take. I'm just gonna kind of go over nursing prereqs, like how it's been a while since I've done them, so I was trying to pull things that I could remember, like how I passed the classes, what made it easier to pass the classes, and things I would recommend. Hopefully this will help you guys out and help you get prepared for prereqs, because prereqs weigh heavily on your nursing school application, so it's really important that you get good grades in the class, and you can always retake a class if you don't get the grade you want to. I had to retake statistics because I am not good at math. So I had to retake it. So first things first, it's important that you learn what your learning style is. It's super, super important, especially for nursing school. It'll make nursing school and preparing for nursing school prereqs, it'll make them a lot easier to study for. So are you a visual learner? Are you an auditory learner? Are you a kinesthetic learner? Do you learn by doing hands-on things? Do you learn best by writing things down? Do you learn best by repetition? Do you learn best like visually seeing colors or like relating things to things you know about, or making funny connections with things, that kind of stuff, making things relatable to things in your life. You kind of got to learn what's best for you for studying. I always say, something I learned in nursing school, make sure that you study smart, not overly long. So learning how you retain information the best and fastest is going to help you a lot, especially in nursing school, where you have to learn a lot of information. Another thing I would recommend is using the website called Rate My Professor. It's important that you get a good professor if you have a choice. I always looked at Rate My Professor through school, and especially for my prereqs, because having a good teacher can really make or break a class. Especially, I mean, I don't know right now with COVID if they're allowing in person at your school, if they're doing online, but I would definitely look at Rate My Professor. Find one that has good ratings that you think will fit how you learn best. So that's super helpful. Good teacher makes a big difference. I would also use YouTube a lot for my prereq classes, just to learn and cement things in that I learned in class. I don't know if you guys have heard of Khan Academy, but it's a really good science and math like tutoring channel on YouTube, and it's really, really good. I use that a lot for statistics and chemistry and a few other classes, so I would highly suggest checking that out. It's called Khan Academy. If you haven't used it for math or science, go use it, it's good. And then another thing is, it's okay to ask for help. It's okay to need help, because prereqs are hard. Hard classes, and most of the classes, most schools have tutors like on standby. I mean, I don't know. I guess I don't know with COVID. Oh my gosh. I don't know with COVID, but I mean, pre-COVID, schools usually had tutors. And most of the tutors at like the Slick campus were students that had taken that class or were majoring in, like, if you were taking chemistry, they were majoring in chemistry or something, so they were pretty good at that certain subject. So if you need help, you can always, I know teachers have TAs, you can get help from the TAs, tutors that are usually on campus. I don't know with COVID, but you can try, and I'm sure you can always try and like hire a tutor like outside of school that could help you too. So don't be afraid to ask for help, because it's helpful to have somebody sit down with you and like go over something you don't understand, or just kind of reiterate what you've learned in class or whatnot. Another thing that I would highly recommend is record the lectures. You know, it's probably not doable to record every single lecture in every single class, but if there's a certain class that you're struggling with more than another, I always recorded my pathophysiology classes and my anatomy and physiology classes and my statistics classes. So I'd get home and study, and then I'd re-listen to the lecture, and it would help to just hear everything again, and I would follow along in my notes and take notes again. So I learned best by visual, auditory, repetition, and writing. So I incorporated that in with a lot of my studying. So if you want to record those lectures, listen to them back again. You can always listen to them while you're in the car. If you have like a long commute, you can always just listen to it. So I took statistics, and now Slick is not requiring that anymore. So dumb. Oh my gosh. Lovely. Statistics, I signed up for It was kind of a last minute sign up, and I got a crappy teacher. She literally just read from our textbook, like word for word, worked out the problems in the textbook on the board, and I was like, why am I here? If she's literally just gonna read the book word by word, it's like, why do I even need to come to class? And I wasn't able to learn that way. I know some people can learn that way, but for me, it just didn't work. So I ended up dropping out of the class. But I ended up going on Rate My Professor and finding one that had a lot better reviews, and then I had much better success in his class because he didn't do that. He didn't read straight from the book. So that was helpful. Math is not my strong suit, so statistics has probably been the hardest class I've ever taken, which some people would be like, wow, that's crazy, but you've been to nursing school. Well, it's a math class. Make sure you use Rate My Professor for statistics. If you struggle with math, try and find a good one. Another class you are required to take is biology. Biology is just one of those classes that if you're a medical professional or any medical professional, you have to take. I don't really have any tips for this one other than, like, if it's a class you really struggle with, make sure you record the lectures, you take notes. I know you can I know there are flashcards you can order for biology on like Amazon or whatnot, so you can do that. One thing with biology is you just want to make sure that you find a good professor too. So that's important. Make sure you find somebody that's great at teaching it and loves what they're teaching. And the lab. I mean, with each of these science classes, there's always a lab. With lab, just make sure you show up, do what's expected of you, and you'll do fine. And then the beasts, anatomy and physiology. Whew. I'm sure you guys have heard that anatomy and physiology are no joke. It's true. It's true. For these classes, we had to take a lab with both of them, and at Slick they're offered separately, so they're not together. I know some programs, they put them together. If you can, for your sanity, try and not take anatomy and physiology in the same semester. It's helpful. It spreads out your workload a little bit. For these classes, I would highly suggest finding a group to study with. It's super helpful to study with a group. If that's kind of your learning style too, I would highly, highly suggest it. I think studying as a group is very helpful, especially for these classes. I know with COVID, hands-on stuff, I don't know how much they're allowing hands-on things, but when I was in anatomy, I always took advantage of going to the lab and actually touching everything to learn. I took advantage of our cadavers. We had a cadaver lab that we used for muscles, which was super, super cool, super helpful. I know some schools have libraries where you can check things out for anatomy and physiology, so you can always check into that. I know they had skeletons at our library you could check out, like a box of bones you could check out. It sounds silly, but it was really helpful. It's really helpful, especially in anatomy, to make flashcards. I learn really good by repetition, so seeing things over and over and over again and using flashcards was super helpful for me. If you learn really well by seeing colors and contrast, people would print out like a blank human figure and they would color in like a certain portion with a certain color, and that's how they would best learn. And the big thing about anatomy is it is a lot of memorization. A lot. So flashcards are super helpful. Hands-on, just over and over and over again is super helpful. It's a lot of information. You have to memorize a lot of things. They test you on a lot of things too. So you want to make sure that you are staying ahead. So make sure you keep up on it, because if you fall behind, you end up having to try and learn twice as much. So it moves pretty fast. If possible, I would suggest not taking these classes during the summer, because it's a lot of information as is, and if you take it in the summer, you're crunching it down even more on time. So if you can take them, avoid taking them in the summer, that's great. Another thing people did for memorization is to try and relate things they were learning to certain things in their life, thinking of a silly way to remember something. So make it relatable, something that's silly that you can remember quickly. People did that for memorization as well. I know there are a lot of YouTube videos you can watch that are helpful in learning anatomy stuff. Acronyms, just any little thing that's gonna make learning things easier, honestly. Just find a way. Acronyms, or relating it to something, or, oh, this word sounds like this and it's on this part of the body, so it's right there, kind of thing. Actively participate in labs and learn while you go. Anatomy and physiology, there are classes that you have to study for often, if not every day. Because there's just a lot of information, and it's very, very important that you study regularly, because you do not want to get behind in these classes, because they test you a lot. They test you on a lot of things. Physiology, as I said, try and take anatomy and physiology in the different semesters. Try and avoid taking them during the summer. Physiology deals with how your body works, and it takes a lot of critical thinking. And some of these mechanisms are long, and you have to know the order and how each piece works and plays into the bigger part of the whole. And it's a lot to learn. I know some classes you learn based on the body part first, and then some classes learn it based on systems first, like the cardiovascular system, the respiratory system. Just make sure you're keeping up. Study frequently for this class. It takes a lot of critical thinking. There's a lot of hard systems to learn, so make sure you're keeping up on it. It can get very complicated. Study regularly, because you don't want to fall behind. I put in my notes, OATP. Oh, no, there's a reason why we took chemistry. Oh, ATP. It's gonna be your best friend in physiology. Another big important thing for anat and physiology: make sure you get a good teacher. That is very, very important. Use Rate My Professor. I had an amazing anatomy and physiology teacher. She was amazing. I mean, she's famous over at Slick, honestly. The teacher really does make all the difference. And try and get a good lab professor too, because labs are hard for both anatomy and physiology. So make sure you get a good teacher for labs as well, especially anatomy lab. Chemistry. What can we say about chemistry other than it sucks? I seriously envy those that like chemistry, are good at chemistry, because that class was torture. I will never take organic chemistry ever. Like, I hated chemistry so much, I cannot even imagine taking organic chemistry. No. I don't know how you people do organic chemistry. I would sink, drown, and die. But yeah, chemistry, that and statistics were like the hardest classes I've ever taken, honestly. Beyond nursing classes, those two have been the hardest classes I've ever taken. It's not my strong suit. Stats isn't my strong suit, and I did not like the lab. I went there, but it was like pulling teeth. I did not like the lab. Memorizing the periodic table was not my idea of a fun time. No. I can't tell you how many times I've used chemistry as a nurse. Probably 0. I've never had to recite the periodic table or look at an element and be like, oh, I use this in my everyday job. No. I've never had to use the periodic table a day in my life as a nurse. So that's all we'll say about chemistry. Make sure you get a good teacher. That is important. Make sure you have a good lab professor. That is important. And if you need help, chemistry is hard for a lot of people. So if there's a TA, take advantage, meet with a TA, get a tutor, get all the help you can find, watch YouTube videos, watch Khan Academy, super helpful. Get all the resources you can to get extra help, because chemistry is not a class you can do on your own. Find a group you can study with. Chemistry is not one you can just look at the book, read it, and nope. So just get some help, honestly, because chemistry is a beast. Pathophysiology. So patho is a class they recommend taking before you get into the nursing program at SLIC, but they also offer it while you're in the nursing program. But me personally, I would recommend taking it before you get into the nursing program. It just decreases your workload a little bit. I think it's first semester that you take it. So, and I would recommend not taking it during the summer because patho is very extensive. There's a ton to learn. So it's really good to avoid taking in the summer because you want that full semester, not a short semester to take it in. It's a hard class. Make sure you have a good teacher for patho. My patho teacher, she's also famous at SLIC. She was incredible. Like, my non-phys and patho-phys teachers were awesome. Awesome. And they made the class, one, like super enjoyable. They made it easier than it would have been if it would have been a crappy teacher. Look, I rate my professor. This is another class where you have to keep up with everything. Otherwise, if you fall behind, you're trying to like play catch up for the rest of the semester, and it's just not fun. So make sure you keep up on it. You have to study regularly. It can get a little bit complicated at times, so make sure that you're keeping up on everything. Patho is one of those classes where I usually recorded the lectures because it was a lot of information. My patho class was really long. And then last but not least, some other classes that are required. I'm not really going to say much about them because I honestly don't remember much about them because I did these like before I did my prereqs, which was a while ago. An English 1010 class or an English 2010 class. It's just an intro to writing. I just remember there was a lot of writing, a lot of APA formatting, which we hate. And then there's a health science class. They require you to take PSY 1100, Lifespan Human Growth and Development, or FHS 1500, Lifespan Human Development. And that just goes over human and growth development over the lifespan. So I remember I liked that class, and it was a lot better than my English class. I hated my English class, my writing class. I hate writing. There's your prereqs for you guys. If you're taking your prereqs, good for you. You are now on the road to nursing school. Good for you. Proud, so proud. Prereqs are, they're no joke. And some people are like, they're nothing. Once you get to nursing school, psh. But no, prereqs are definitely hard. And I don't know, they almost helped me get through nursing school a little bit better, because it helps kind of prepare you for the amount of studying and like the hard work you need to put in. So prereqs were actually really good because they helped prepare me for nursing school. Anyways, I hope this was helpful for you guys. I kind of wish I would have watched some of these videos before I went into prereqs, because I didn't really know what to expect. So I hope this is helpful for you guys. So proud you are where you are. Good luck with your prereqs. You're this much closer to getting into nursing school, so good job. Keep up the hard work. If you guys have any questions, comments, let me know. If I can help with anything, I'm happy to. I'm game to give you guys advice or whatever, so hit me up in the comments. But yeah, I hope this was helpful. Good luck with your prereqs, you guys, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Thanks.